जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज यशोधनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोधनंदन व्रज जन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रील प्रभुपाद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So, reading from Canto 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, talks between Narada and King Prachinabari. Text 76 and 77. यथा तृणाजलूकेयं नापयात अपयाति च नात्यजेन् म्रियमाणोऽपि देहाभिमाति मतिं जनः यथा तृणाजलूकेयं नापयात्य अपयाति च नात्यजेन् म्रियमाणोऽपि प्राग्देहाभिमतिं जनः यथा तृणजलूकेयं नापयात्य अपयाति च नात्यजेन् म्रियमाणोऽपि प्राग्देहाभिमतिं जनः. यथा तृणाजलूकेयं नात्यजेन्म्रियमाणोऽपि प्राग्देहाभिमतिं जनः. यथा तृणजलूकेयं नापयात्यपयाति च na tyajenmriyamanopi pragdebhamatinjanaha deha yatha trinajalookeyam napayatyapayati cha na tyajenmriyamanopi pragdehabhimatim janaha. So I will continue this one more sloka. Yavad anyam na vindeta vyavadhanena karmanam mana eva manushendra bhutanam bhavabhavanam. What the word meaning? Yatha, as. Trina jaluka, caterpillar. Yam, this. Na apayati, does not go. Apayati, goes. Cha, also. Na, not. Chadet, gives up. Mriyamanaha, at the point of death. Api, even. Prak, former. Deha, with the body. Abhimatim, identification. Janaha, a person. Yavat, so long as. Anyam, another. Na, not. Vindeta, obtains. Vyavadhanena, by the termination. Karmanam, of fruitive activities. Manaha, the mind. Eva, certainly. Manushya Indra, O ruler of men. Bhutanam, of all living entities. Bhava, of material existence. Bhavanam, the cause. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desires. Purport. So it's a elaborate purport Prabhupada gives. Purport. A living entity too much absorbed in material activity becomes very much attracted to the material body. Even at the point of death, he thinks of his present body and the relatives connected to it. Thus, he remains fully absorbed in the bodily conception of life, so much so that even at the point of death, he abhors leaving his present body. Sometimes it is found that a person on the verge of death remains in a coma for many days before giving up the body. This is common among so-called leaders and politicians who think that without their presence the entire country and all society will be in chaos. This is called Maya. Political leaders do not like to leave their political posts, and they either have to be shot by an enemy or obliged to leave by the arrival of death. By superior arrangement, a living entity is offered another body, but because of his attraction to the present body, he does not like to transfer himself to another body. Thus, he is forced to accept another body by the laws of nature. Prakrute kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by nature. Bhagavad-Gita 3.27. Material nature is very strong, and the material mode forces one to accept another body. This force is visible when the living entity transmigrates from a superior body to an inferior one. One who acts like a dog or a hog in the present body will certainly be forced to accept the body of a dog or hog in the next life. A person may be enjoying the body of a prime minister or a president, but when he understands that he will be forced to accept the body of a hog or a dog, he chooses not to leave the present body. Therefore, he lies in a coma many days after death. This has been experienced by many politicians at the time of death. The conclusion is that the next body is already determined by superior control. The living entity immediately gives up the present body and enters another. Sometimes, in the present body, the living entity feels that many of his desires and imaginations are not fulfilled. Those who are only attached to their life situation are forced to remain in a ghostly body and are not allowed to accept another gross body. Even in the body of a ghost, they create disturbances for neighbors and relatives. The mind is the prime cause of such a situation. According to one's mind, different types of bodies are generated, and one is forced to accept them. As confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita 8.6, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam त्यजन्तन्ते कलेवरं तं तं येवैति कौन्तेय sada tad bhava bhavitah. Whatever stage of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Within one's body and mind, one can think as either a dog or a god, and the next life is offered to him accordingly. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 13.22. Purusha prakrutastho hi bhungte prakriti jam gunan karanam gunasangosya sada sadyoni janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows a way of life, enjoying three modes of nature. This is due to the association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. The living entity may transmigrate to either a superior or inferior body according to his association with the modes of material nature. If he associates with the mode of ignorance, he gets the body of an animal or an inferior man. But if he associates with the mode of goodness or passion, he gets a body accordingly. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14.18. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tistanti rajasah jaganya guna vrittistha adho gachanti tamasah. Those situated in the modes of goodness gradually go upwards to the higher planets, and those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance goes down to the hellish worlds. The root cause of one's association is the mind. This great Krishna consciousness movement is the greatest boon to human society because it is teaching everyone to think always of Krishna by executing devotional service. In this way, at the end of life, one may be transferred to the association of Krishna. This is technically called Nitya Leela Pravistah, entering into the planet Golok Vrindavan. Bhagavad Gita 18.55 explains Bhaktya mam avijanati yavan yaschashmi tattvatah tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter in the kingdom of God. After the mind is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, one can enter the planet known as Golok Vrindavan. To enter the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to understand Krishna. The process of understanding Krishna is devotional service. After understanding Krishna as he is, one can become eligible to enter Krishna Loka and associate with him. The mind is the cause of such an exalted position. The mind can also get one a body like those of a dog and hog. To observe the mind always in Krishna consciousness is therefore the greatest perfection of human society. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamavyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagradatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishve Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Ushabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Translation. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up one he has. This is because the mind is a reservoir of all kinds of desires. So, it's a big purport which Prabhupada completely explained about how the mind works. So, if you see this chapter, it's a biggest chapter, I think, and maybe before we enter the 10th canto, we have more bigger chapters, I guess. So, in one lecture I heard, from starting from the 60th sloka to 80th sloka, so gross body and the mind has been discussed. How this transmigration happens and how this subtle body is the how we get that kind of another body because of our desires and mind. So it's all been given until the 80th sloka, 60 to 80. So here, if you see in the purport, it's clearly given like there is life exists after we die. Means like we get another life after we die. We leave this body. And if you see, and the cause is a mind. Because of this mind, and it clearly says it's a reservoir of all kinds of desires. And to fulfill the desires what the mind has, accordingly the body will be being given by the modes of material nature, by the superiors. And even if you see in the purport, Prabhupada was quoting many slokas. And even Bhagavad-Gita, if you see, starting itself, when it comes to the discussion about soul in the second chapter, Krishna gives that sloka Dehinosmi Nadadehi. This body, for a certain period, it grows, then again it has to leave. Like it has been given their example like a dress. As how we change, a person changes the dress. So like that, we change these bodies. But especially we see many things about the mind in Bhagavad-Gita. So many things Krishna explains about mind. In 6th chapter, 6.6, 6.5, there Krishna says, like, if you don't control your mind, then it will be like an enemy. If you control, then it will be like a good friend. So like this, like, so many topics has been discussed by Krishna, and here also in Prabhupada explaining so many purports, how we get, higher body or lower body, or how it is been what you call, how it is been given those kind of particular body. So especially we can see here, some people they say, like, after the death there is nothing is there. So only the thing what we got is one life, so we enjoy everything. So there is nothing called, like, after death, they will be taken to the hell or heaven and being given punishment or reward, something like that. They don't consider all these things. But if they don't consider, means it's not like that is not there. But scripture says here clearly that there is there, where the activities what you are doing. So the activities, the suffering which you are going through, it is because of your past life, what you have done, the good or bad, and the activities now which you are doing, that will generate some results that will help you to carry to the next life, and there you will be like suffering. And there comes also, like, the punishment and reward and all. So the people, like, these kind of people who they think, like, there is no life after death, and they also doesn't believe on the God. They simply they are just there in the ignorance and trying to enjoy their body, enjoy their senses, and exploit more, and try to get more happiness with that. But if you see, like, that is not the case actually. They have to suffer a lot what they are doing, even though that is not known to them, that there is no life after death. That is the example, like, if a child unknowingly go and touches the fire doesn't think, like, he is innocent, he don't know anything. No, the result is there. He will be the child, hand will be burnt. There is no excuse in that. So here also, the people who doesn't think that there is a life after death, they will be enjoying like anything. No, they don't consider their good or bad. They simply try to enjoy. They feel like, this is the only one chance I got, let me do it. Experience everything, do good, bad, everything they want to do, experience. But result is there. In what to think of, what to talk about, after death. In this life itself, if they are doing, they are doing something wrong, which is against the law, then they are going to be given punishment. They have been caught and they will be, like, put into jail. So when someone is doing so many atrocious activities, and after that, definitely that are being counted and the punishment will be given, and so many things are being considered at the time of death. And here some of the examples which Prabhupada gives in purport is the politicians and the social leaders, they don't want to give up their positions, especially, like, who are in the highest positions, like, governors or prime minister, presidents, or here higher positions where the power is there in their hands. They think, like, I am the controller of this whole country. But the thing is, like, they are so attached. They don't want to take retirement, and they don't want to come out of that position. They don't want to give that chair to anyone. So rather they want to die in that chair. So you can see, the positions of these higher positions in our country, most of them are very old people. We can't see any young people there. Maybe one reason why they don't give to the young people, because young people, when they got into the position, they may never live till their death, till their old age, I think. So they only take 70 plus people who are there for the post, I think. So that they'll at least will die soon and they'll give the post, leave the chair. But they are so attached to their position, they don't want to leave. There are so many examples in the past, like, they have been forcibly, like, taken out from the position. Especially, like, opposite party, they do a lot of chaos. When there are meetings around, they bang the benches, they throw the podium here and there, and, like, they it's like a fish market, looks like, they scold like anything, and it's a very bad position. And still they don't want to leave it. They are so attached to it. And here Prabhupada says, they will be, the person till the verge of their death remains in that position. And they are so attached at the point of death, they will be not able to leave their body. They don't want to leave their body, so they will be in coma all the time. And Prabhupada also says, like, they are so attached to their position, enemy has to shot. We have seen that case in Gandhi's situation, where not only Gandhi's situation, there are so many politicians happened. So many enemies are there around, opposite party, that they are very eager to. Why a politician need a security, high security? When a governor comes in this way, all the traffic rules have been changed, everything will be clear. Why? Because there is a high risk of his death. There all the time people are ready to take advantage of making him to kill. So, but these people, like, Prabhupada says also, like, even though fortunately they will come to know that they have a next life, but next life, because of doing so many abominable activities in this life, they are going to get a dog or hog body. So they don't want to lead that life. So what they do, they don't want to leave this body also. So they try to hold it. So if you have a strong desire to stay in this body, you can. But that intensity is very much required. But the thing is, like, the nature is more powerful than us, and the higher authorities, controller, who is a supreme controller, he is more powerful than us. We are just part and parcel. So he snatches us. He snatches away all the things, and he takes out that position also. And in that pitiable situation, the point of death, the person who don't want to leave this position and his body, so he will be all the time in the coma. So most of the politicians, when you see their lives, the last moments, they will be, most of them, they are in coma, on a bed in a hospital. Very pitiable situation. But if you see some people, because of having so many desires and imaginations, and where they are not able to fulfill those desires, by the point of death, they will get this gross body, what do you call this, ghastly body, ghost bodies, because they have that desire to do it, but in the next life they are not meant to given that human body to fulfill those desires. So what they do, like, they get this, they remain as a ghost. They will be wandering here and there in the air, sky, and that's a more abominable situation, like, than having a animal body. Animal, at least, like, when it gets some body, human transfers to animal body, then at least he will enjoy there. But ghost is not like that. He can't fulfill his desires and he can't enjoy also. He can't, like, finally, like, fed up. He can't do anything, helpless, but being put in that situation. What he does to fulfill his desires, he goes and keep troubling the others, especially the neighbors. I heard somewhere, especially the old people, they don't want to take retirement, especially Shastras recommend. At the age of 50, they have to leave their home, their relatives, family, responsibilities, everything should be handed over to their elder son, and they have to go to Vana, Vanaprastha. But that is not happening here. They don't want to leave it. They are so much attached. They are so much attached. It happens so like, nowadays we see these cases like, finally their son used to kick them out. After taking property divisions happens, they'll kick them out. They'll send them to orphanages, old age homes. But some people are like so attached to their home, they don't want to leave it. In somewhere I heard in some lectures, in that situation when they die in their own home, thinking about their home, in the next life they will be taken or given a body of a lizard or a snake, where they will be like, if he gets a snake body, then he will be there in the home trying to protect the home, saying that whoever comes, he like to bite. And lizard also like that, try to be there, stick to the wall and feeling that this is my home. But somewhere I think in Chanakya Pandit he says, the person who dies in his own home is a abominable death, he says. Because in the scriptures it says at the point of death you should be out of your home. Why? There is a reason behind it. Because when you die in the home, you will be dying seeing your home, your relatives. Now there will be some kind of connection with these material things. What happens? You will be trying to recollecting or remembering those things only, because you are so much, with a lot of effort, with a lot of struggle, you constructed a nice home and you are there in that home, Andakupa, like almost like 50 years. Then at the time of death you will be only thinking about, what happens to my home? No, it will remain there, you only living, it will remain there only. But he will be thinking that then that is his last thought. Then he will get that kind of body, like getting a lizard body or like a snake body, a rat body, something like a small insects. He will become in that home itself. Our own people will flew them away. If he become a snake, his own son will come and hit with the stick and kill it and throw him out. So Chanakya Pandit says like it's abominable death one who dies in his own home. Rather he should die in the street. That is a glorious death. Why? Because in the death, when you die in the street, it means outside your home, at least you don't have this kind of attachments. Those kind of memories will not come at the last moment. At least when you are dying in the street or outside your home, where you will be at least able to remember the Lord. At least you will call out the Lord, thinking, because when you are dying, you will get a lot of pain. So at least at the time, if you have done some good activities because of your punya, maybe Lord give the remembrance to remember Him. But in Bhagavad-Gita also it says like it's not that easy to remember the Lord at the last moment, because whole life you did so many bad things and so many sense gratification you did. At the end of the life, it's very difficult to remember because of pain what you are going through. So it says in the scriptures that at the end of your life, when death comes, so 40,000 scorpions biting, that much pain you will be feeling. One scorpion bite only, we will be like jumping from top to here to there. So what to talk about 40,000 scorpion biting at one time? This is a very, very painful. Because of that pain, people they pass stool and urine. So at that situation, how can we remember the Lord? That pain. Now, for example, we see if we have a headache or something like small fever, something like this, then we generally not able to focus on our chanting and in our devotional services. Then what to speak of at the point of death, having that much pain, it's very difficult. So Prahlad Maharaj all the time says in 7th canto that I think 7th or 5th canto, he says like it's a best like to practice devotional service at the small age. So nowadays like people, they don't want their children to take this Krishna consciousness at the very early age, because they all the time they think like we have a lot of time. When we get retired at the age of 70, we can take this Krishna consciousness. We do little bhakti, we can do at that time. That is the age, proper age to practice devotional service. They say, why you have to do now itself? You can nicely work, get married, get entangled more and more and more and more, and suffer like anything, because they have gone through that suffering. So their children has to be go through. That's what they feel. They wishes. Parents are wishing. My son has to get married. After marry, entanglement. So many problems. But the right thing. But if you see, according to them also, when you see at the old age also, what they are doing now? Now, okay, you have suggested your children to get married. Okay, they obeyed your orders and they get into family life, and he's struggling his life. He can't say to his parents that, no, why you get married, I am struggling here. No, you have to struggle now, it's your own family now, you have to take responsibility. Now parents will not come until unless there is a kid. There is a kid, then they will come and take care, and then later on they will leave. So but at the old age, if you see what they are doing now, they are not able to focus on devotional service. One after other thoughts. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this many things. There are so many pending things I have to do. There is no time. Most of the time, most of their engagement will be like crying all the time. Some other pain. I can't sit, I can't walk, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't digest. So many problems. In that situation, how can they able to do devotional service? They can't walk without someone help. They can't eat without having a lot of diet restrictions, BP, sugar, cholesterol, so many things. And they can't see without the help of specs. The eyes are blur, they can't able to, their vision is almost lost. And the lungs are filled with mucus. How can they chant the names of the Lord? It's very difficult. But still, they don't understand all these things, but they only feel that okay, we have to enjoy life, and at the old age we'll take, if time permits, we'll take to devotional service. But who is the biggest loser? They are the biggest losers, because they are not able to come out of these sufferings until unless they are not taking to this Krishna consciousness. If they are not taking to the Krishna consciousness, they have to go to this fairy wheel. They have to go through this birth, death, old age, disease. They have to go through around, round and round. This cycle never ends. To come out of this cycle is not devotional service. Until unless someone is not doing this devotional service, they have to go through these sufferings, pains, life after life, life after life. Sometimes he will be given a higher body, higher destination. Sometimes he will be given lower destinations, like the fairy wheel. It comes down and goes to the top and comes down. Some people, when they go to the top, they feel they can see whole view of whole city. They'll feel, oh, very nice. When it comes down, when you are coming down, it will be very painful. There is opposite pressure. So you'll feel like blood is flowing on the top. You feel very painful. When it comes down, they'll say, come out. Pay money. That will be very difficult, right? So like that, sometimes we'll be going to higher planetary systems and middle planetary systems and lower planetary systems, going round and round and round. But when to stop this? Only the process to stop this is devotional service. No other yoga systems will help you to come out of this fairy wheel. Those other systems of yoga will help you to decorate this fairy wheel very nicely. The position where you are sitting, try to make the things more more favorable to enjoy your senses. But only this devotional service, Krishna consciousness, has the power or the potency to take out of this fairy wheel. Even this liberation will not give. Liberation is something like where after some time you will get a desire where to enjoy, again you will come down. But the devotional service, when you practice sincerely by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hearing nicely and reading the scriptures, understanding the activities of Krishna, then easily the devotee can come out of this fairy wheel, birth of cycle of birth and death. There is no other way. That's what Prabhupada says, Bhaktyana, without devotional service it is difficult to come out of. One cannot understand Supreme Personality of Godhead without devotional service. To understand Krishna, you have to do devotional service. That is the only way to come out of it. Otherwise, this mind is a reservoir of desires. If you engage your mind in devotional service, then it will have spiritual desires, which is very good for us to elevate ourselves. If this mind is not practicing Krishna, not engaging Krishna consciousness, then it is always thinks about our sense gratification, then that desires will never stop. That will increase more and more. That is the entanglement. So mind is a source here. So we have to somehow try to train our mind, control our mind, and engage it, mind, body, and words into the Krishna's service. So these three are very important. These three has to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. And if you see here, Prabhupada quotes often about dog and hog. Because if you see this dogs and hogs, basically they are so attached to their family members. In this regard, there is a pastime about Indra, where he neglected his spiritual master to respect when his spiritual master name Brihaspati. When he comes into his palace, Indra's palace, he was enjoying having a somaras and enjoying with what we call damsels. So he didn't notice that his spiritual master had came, and Bhrigu saw and that he is very busy with enjoying with the damsels and having that kind of what we call opulent kingdom. So he left, cursing him that he didn't respected his guru. So he cursed him to become a hog in the earthly planet. And it happened so Indra came to this earth, he transformed into the hog, and he started living in this filthy place. Initially he didn't like to stay because his mind is not trained to stay in the filthy place. But since he got this hog body, hog's mind always thinks about filthy things. He likes to stay in the filthy place. So since he got that kind of favorable mind, so he developed that taste to stay in that filthy place. Once he stayed in that filthy place, he got accustomed to stay there. Then he got a desire to have a good wife. So he saw a female hog then he got attracted, then he got married to it, then he begetted some children. Hogs, like they produce, even dogs also, they produce at a time 12 dozen children. So he got nice children, and he's spending very nice, happy moments in that filthy place, enjoying with the wife and kids, baby hogs. So, but still that Indra position was vacant, and Brahma was worried. If Indra is not there, who will take care of this universe? He is in charge. He is a king of Indra is a king of all the demigods. He has to engage all the demigods in the respective services. He is appointed by the Supreme Lord. On behalf of Supreme Lord, he is in charge to give the services to the demigods. Varuna, Agni, Vayu, Surya, Chandra, they're all the demigods where Indra used to give these services to them to take care of the universe. So that position is vacant. Brahma is worried. No, when this Indra will come back to his position to take this position, let me go and call. When he goes, he saw Indra was nicely enjoying it. He forget that he is Indra. He is a controller of the demigods. He is a king of the demigods. He forgot that position, and now he got accustomed to that lower position and become that I'm a hog. I have a wife, good wife. I have a nice children home. I'm nicely enjoying here. Then Brahma tried to say the actual fact that you are not a hog, you are a king. But he didn't agree. No, I'm nicely situated in this position. Why you want to take away me from this, separate me from this family? Then I think with mystical vision, he shows how their kids and wife dies in the coming days. No, it's not a permanent thing, it's a temporary. So you are just being given this body, you are not this hog, come out of this consciousness. Then still Indra was not listening. That hog is so attached. That's what Prabhupada is giving this example of hog and dog. They are so attached. So finally Brahma has to forcibly take that Indra out of that body, and because the position is vacant, so they have to take care of the universal affairs, so he gave that position back to him. So like that, you see, this position of hog and dog is so strong. The people who are so attached to these kind of family material attachments, they are being given this hog and dog body. I was seeing this photo in the Bhagavad-Gita. It comes in 15th chapter. Yeah, this 15.8. So this the one who is so attached to illicit sex, gambling, and meat eating. So how they got this next life? It has been nicely explained in 5th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. So I was just seeing this and correlating with this, how these strong attachments are. Material gratification are like that. People are so attached, so definitely the next life will be animal life, because they are not behaving as a humans, because humans have that elevated consciousness. They are not using their intelligence in the right way. Rather, they are just simply wasting their intelligence. Yesterday I was hearing one lecture, Prabhupada lecture on Bhagavad-Gita. He was quoting about Darwin's theory. Darwin says the current generation of people are so elevated, or what we call sophisticated people. But if you see, Prabhupada was trying to deny that statement, giving an example of Bhagavad-Gita, where Krishna has spoken this Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna in a battlefield. And Krishna doesn't took much time to explain this Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna. It took half an hour or 45 minutes max to Krishna to explain Bhagavad Gita, whole Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That was like 700 slokas. But according to Darwin's, if you see, if we say like this Bhagavad Gita was existed, humans are existed 5,000 years back, Darwin's denied it, saying that maybe humans may exist, but they don't have that higher elevated consciousness, sophisticated. But now the people who are there now, they are so elevated, they are so sophisticated, their mind is so sharp, they feel. But Prabhupada is saying, giving this example, okay, in that time, in the 5,000 years back, this Bhagavad Gita has been spoken to Arjuna by Krishna within 45 minutes. Darwin will able to understand this Bhagavad Gita, whole Bhagavad Gita within 1 hour. Because he is so exalted, he has so sharp memory. Why can't he do it? There is no answer for that. Because at that time people are so sharp memory, so exalted, they are able to understand the Bhagavad Gita like Arjuna within 45 minutes. But people now, they can't even remember anything. What they have ate yesterday or 1 week back, they have to make it a note. Keep a note, write a note, and they forget where they have written also. Even they don't also, they will forget where they have noted it. That is their what we call degraded position. And this Darwin, scientists are saying they are having more IQ, they are sharp memory and all. Kali Yuga people, this Bhagavad Gita has been just spoken at that time. That is not kept into written, so that in the future they will refer. No, they used to remember all 700 slokas. Arjuna used to remember all. And others students used to go to Gurukul. They never go with a heavy bag, having all the books inside, laptops, gadgets, and notebooks, textbooks, workbooks, everything. It's not needed at that time. They used to go simply just used to go with a nicely dressed. They used to go to Gurukul, they study and they come back. No books. Everything is stored in their mind. But now, even though if you have again textbook, notebooks, Google, laptop, gadgets, everything, still you are not able to remember anything. That is the degraded position of a Kali Yuga Jiva. So until unless these material technologies and all will not help us, rather that will help us to degrade more, make us more lazy, make us more lethargic, and gives more problems, bodily problems and so many other problems. But until unless we don't take this Krishna consciousness and engage our body, mind, words in Lord Krishna's service, we are not going to come out of this abominable situations or positions. So that is the only way. So Prabhupada says at the end, the mind is a cause of such an exalted position or in a degradable position. So both are there in our hands. The mind can also get a body like those of a dogs and hawks. You can get an exalted position or in a lower position. To observe the mind always in Krishna consciousness is the greatest perfection of human life. That's what Prabhupada says. Other than that, there is no way of coming out of this, what we call position, abominable position. So in the further slokas also it has been more elaborately given about how this happens, how this desires works, and we can hear more in the next coming classes about this. So I would just pause here. So duties can. Okay, we'll take the comments, corrections, and questions in Prasadam time. कंजरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय।